Faithful, stand up, baby.
Faithful, what up? We're finally here. Draft season is approaching rapidly right ahead of us. And, it's an exciting time of the year, usually. But, it's funny because the last time we got on an episode, JB was telling me about the whole Deebo thing and the signs and everything. And I was just like, man, this is just part of the process. Let's just wait. Let's see what happens. Let's wait for real news to come out. Well, it's a lot of real news that's come out. So we're definitely going to talk about it. The John Lynch presser, Deebo. I feel like it's been kind of quiet the past few days, but maybe I'm missing something. And we'll break down a little bit, talks about the draft as well, because it is draft week. But my name is BMH. It's positive energy and good vibes. As always, I'm with JB.
What's popping, B? What's popping, faithful? Yeah, I mean, really, it's draft season, it's Deebo season. We don't have a first round pick, but all this Deebo drama, it makes people wonder: are we gonna move up into the first? I'm interested though. All right, when you say that last time, you kind of were like, "Oh, there's no news," but now this time there's news. I guess the news is that he officially told a reporter that he wants out. Because I'm
Yeah.
like, it's still at the end
He
of the day,
officially
it's
told the report. But let me just summarize. So
because he's
last week,
still out. Because he's still on the team. It's really
yeah.
nothing been done.
Last week, the only thing that happened was he took down his 49ers content on his Instagram. Was there anything else that happened? He took down his content, and I believe there may have been one IG exchange with something very ambiguous. Oh, like people ask,
The brother,
yeah, the brother, with the brother talking about the trade. That's what really set it off. Because at that point, I was just like, well, they're just really pushing the envelope, pushing the issue, but it's nothing going on. Then he came out the next day. Because I remember I texted you the next day, I think it was, and I was just like, bro, like, are you kidding me? So this was Wednesday last week. It comes out that he told a journalist that he requested a trade. That's what the reporter was, reporting, that Deebo specifically told him that he requested a trade. And from my vantage point, that's takes it from a 0 to a 10, takes it from a 1 to a 10, a 2 to a 10, whatever you want to say. But that was like taking it to another level. Then you have a few things on social media, not a big deal. The most recent thing was, him being at some club in LA and, doing the whole kill sign to the sign that they brought out, which is hella funny, by the way. And it's funny to me when you see like videos like that on social media, like who else, like there was no other videos. I just feel like that's just interesting to me that there's like no other videos that we saw, like only that one little clip from somebody's story. Like that's just
there was one other video.
What happened?
And it was like
nothing?
it was another sign, and it says something
like a different
about
sign.
Yeah, different sign, and it says something like Deebo about to get paid, or Deebo about to get the Niners, or something with like the Niners about to make it happen, or Deebo about to get paid, or something like that. So
Was there a reaction to that or
nah,
no?
you couldn't even. This one you just saw. I just saw the sign, but I didn't. You couldn't see him in the background.
Okay, but that's always interesting to me in videos like that. I'm like, how's there only one video from this nightclub that got out like this night? There's got to be other videos. Like we need some real good investigative journalists on the Niners, beat, or just the fans that need to tap in and find out the other angles. What's really going on? How was he reacting? Not for real though. It's funny to me how like there's only one video. But anyways, that video comes out, and now we're in a situation. I know you don't be in the Twitter spaces. I be in the Twitter spaces less and less and less, because honestly they're getting very I don't know what the word to say is, man. A lot of
Toxic?
activities. I don't want to say toxic. It's more like high school, like more like just it's a lot of people talking about irrelevant shit, people cutting people off, people cussing, just all that type of shit. It's not like it's just toxic. Like, it's not like, I don't want to be here because the energy is too negative. It's more like this is kind of childish. Like I don't know what we're doing. Sometimes I'll be vibing out, late night, when it's more positive. But sometimes it's a little too much. But I have been tapping into a lot of cross spaces with the Jets fan base, the Miami Dolphins fan base.
Well, wait, what is that whole issue? I've been hearing that the Miami and Niner fan bases, like there's been
It's
an
just when you
issue.
go into spaces, and for Twitter in general and for social media in general, like the fans that tap into all these shows, including the fans that tap in with us, the fans that tap into the Grants of the world, and just all the 49ers content creators, you got to understand like those aren't all fans. You know what I mean? Like that's a small percentage. You could say it's a big percentage, but it's just a percentage of fans. And when you have like Twitter, for example, like 49ers Twitter is damn near different than 49ers the fan base as a whole, which you can damn near say for anything in Twitter. Like Twitter's its own world. At least this is how I view like this is
Right,
my
right.
viewpoint. It's not just like it doesn't just represent how
Not
everybody feels about
everybody
the
in the
team.
world is on it, but
Exactly.
there's a lot of people on
Oh
it.
yeah, absolutely. But it's not like it doesn't necessarily represent the viewpoint of all 49ers. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you have Reddit and you have different pockets, and I feel like they're all kind of, they all have their different personalities and energies. Um, but the Miami fan base, I give that caveat to say, like, I was in a few Twitter spaces with the Miami fan base, with the Jets fan base, and just overall the Jets groups that they've had, the Jets spaces that they've had, they're just like, it's just dope, man. It's just positive energy. Like, it's just the space is done well. It's hella people in there. You see a lot of verified people coming in, whether it's like Damian Woody or like just various ESPN analysts and other networks and stuff, and like, but it's all lights, fun, informative. People giving their opinions. It's diverse opinions, but it's good conversation. It keeps going. It's just good content. But then on the Miami Dolphins side, and I've been in like good Dolphin spaces too, but for the most part, it just seemed like it was just a lot more turned up with a lot less people, and a lot of people just like, it's one of those things, bro, where you tap in and it's like somebody, I'm not hating, I'm not trying to be negative, I'm just explaining what it is. You have somebody with like 200 followers or 300 followers talking about like, I'm hearing that the Deebo Samuel trade is going to get done today. I'm hearing it's 95% complete right now. I'm hearing it's 90. The only thing that's holding it up, it's a lot of that type of stuff. You know what I mean?
The only thing that's holding it up
Where it's like,
is the Niners.
that's the only thing. Okay, everything else is all systems go. So you have a lot of spaces like that, and a lot of people that just talk about in the Dolphin space, like, yeah, like we're gonna like they really think they're gonna trade for Deebo, even after they already traded for Tyreek Hill and they don't have as much draft capital now. And they're like, no, we're gonna do it. Our GM and everything, we're gonna do it for like a second round pick and a third round pick. We're gonna make it happen. Like, no, that's they just on that hype, and it's just like they're talking about how they always talk about how Deebo is just infatuated with Mike McDaniel. Like Deebo, like he
Oh my
loves Mike
God.
McDaniel. Like
Okay.
Mike McDaniel is going to be the reason that this gets done. Mike McDaniel is really the true genius behind the 49ers run game over these past years. And what are the Niners known for? Running the ball, not passing the ball. It's all been Mike McDaniel. Like they're on that hype, bro. Like they're
Okay.
really like taking it to the 10th degree, where it's like, what are y'all even talking about right now? Like seriously, what are y'all? And this one thing, it's like acting like you have more knowledge of the 49ers than us 49ers fans, who are like 100% tapped in, and like, you know what I'm saying? Even, we're a pretty knowledgeable fan base. We have disagreements and people say stupid stuff on all sides, but we know kind of like the ins and outs. There's article
Yeah, you
references
you
to
you know
this,
the
and
dynamics of
I'm not going
each
to come into a
coach.
Miami. I'm not going to come into a Miami space talking about like their whole team. I don't know about their team. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know the ins and outs of their team. So, anyways, that's the 101 brief summary on that. There's just a lot of that going on this week in the Twitter spaces, and it's just been crazy. So, anyways, I'm getting kind of on a tangent, but I just wanted to like bring up that it's been crazy, and those are the developments for me. It's just like just going on Twitter and seeing a lot of noise, but a lot of really like nothing. Like you're not gonna believe anything till you see it. And I think there is credence to the whole theory that if there is gonna be a trade, it's not gonna be done until the actual draft for a number of reasons. There may be some things that are still figuring out. There may be, it just might be a situation where you have a set player in mind that you want to get at a certain pick, and you're not going to make a trade until that player is actually there. Like, I don't think that's the case because, like John Lynch said, there's not a very top heavy draft. And I don't think there's going to be like one guy that like the Niners would look for if they got like, the 10th pick, for example. But those are the theories. Those are the theories out there. So I guess like that's been what's happening. Any thoughts you have on just what's happened this week? And then we could transition into the John Lynch press conference
Yeah,
specifically.
yeah. I mean, I guess you know, this weekend before the John Lynch press conference, um, it was like I think it was what night was it? It was Saturday night, I believe, and when I think it was when Kittle did the Ayuk thing. When Kittle posted that picture of IU, and then around when the Deebo did this, I don't know, man. It was like at that point in time, I guess, yeah, I guess this weekend, I guess made me kind of feel like more so. I was feeling it like last week, but this weekend, I kind of was like, man, bro, Deebo, like, bro, what's up, bro? You just don't want to be a Niner no more. You don't, taking it personally, man. As a fan, like yeah, this weekend, it was kind of like, all right, well then, well guess what? Well, guess what?
Say it.
If you don't want to be here that badly,
Say it.
then walk away, bro. Cause I think I tweeted this. Like, I get it. You're raw, and if you go, we will take some steps back. But guess what? I don't. We already been. It's like we've been weak before. I mean, I'm not. If you don't want to be here, bro. If you don't want to be a Niner, man, then it is what it is. But I
That's
think the
the
John
energy.
Lynch.
That's the
Yeah.
energy you had last week on our podcast. Maybe not to the degree that you have it or had it now or this week with all everything that happened. But that's the energy you had, and I was kind of like, man, we can't take this personally. Just how you just said right now. I'm just like, let time play out. But to me, with the developments, like I said, I feel like it went from a 2 to a 10. You kind of foresaw that happening to a certain extent. But I'm in line with you. I think I don't know who made the comment, but it's like Deebo really acting like Jalen Ramsey, and this is the Jags or something. You know what I'm saying? Like we the Jags or something. Like we just like that's what I feel like personally. It's like, bro, like you're just doing a lot right now. You know what I mean? But it's 2022. It's a different generation. In Deebo, I feel like the one difference that there is with him and like I don't know a Kyler Murray or and Kyler Murray, MVP candidate at the beginning of the season. I don't want to like not Kyler Murray or anything, but I put in like I feel like the whole Ben Simmons situation with the Sixers is not really related to Deebo at all, but I'm still throwing it into like the social media era of like athletes and stuff. The thing that separates Deebo is he's actually raw and like actually like our best player. You know what I'm saying? This isn't just like it's like some guy who's like, no, this is our best player. It gets tricky because of his injury history, which some people will debate that and whatnot, and there's always risk, but there's other things that make it tricky. But he is like our best player, so on offense at least. So I think that's what, and next to Trent Williams, skill position player. So that's where it gets tricky. You know what I mean? But anyways, I didn't mean to cut your wisdom. Go
No,
ahead.
no. I mean, I'm just saying how I feel or how I felt. I think it's changed a little bit, but I don't know. It is how they say a very delicate
How has it
situation, and
changed? Just like over
I,
time.
I just I just feel like John Lynch yesterday, like you always talk about John Lynch being just a good, it just looks the part, and
Mhm.
is a good GM, and I
Mhm.
think yesterday for I feel like even though he really didn't say anything, but he did say stuff, and I feel like it is a delicate situation, and that press conference I felt like didn't pour gas on the fire that could be this whole situation, and what I really want Deebo to be a Niner. That's what everybody wants. Like you said, he's our best player. That's what I really want. So, it just seemed like I just feel like yesterday, if John Lynch could have been talk, if he would have talked more or whatever, I just felt like that's not gonna make it worse for Deebo in his camp. Like, I don't know, it might, and the fact he's basically like, look, he was referencing, when he was talking about Trey Lance and he was talking about the weapons, he was referencing Deebo, like bro, like he's coming
Last,
back.
might I add?
Last, but he because but he still put him in there, and just the whole his whole. I just feel like it was like I can't see us walking in the way, letting a player like Debo walk. I can't even see that. So that I feel like that kind of calmed me down a little bit, but yeah, this weekend I feel like it was really, like I said, it was like, man, well then go then, bro,
with
then
with
go.
with with the presser that Lynch had, you know, we knew he wasn't going to really say anything. So what do you expect?
I mean, I didn't, I thought that, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, you never. That's true. Okay, we didn't. I'm not gonna make assumptions. We didn't know, but I ain't gonna lie. Like I feel like even comparing the presser, our last two pressers for pre-draft pressers. I mean, honestly, like the two biggest pre-draft pressers in the NFL the past 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt, like guaranteed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like and like last year's, Kyle Shanahan's up there too, and like it was such Kyle Shanahan was given such defensive energy. Do you remember? Like he had such defensive
Of
energy. That's the word
course.
I would use to describe him. It wasn't that it was like negative energy per se or like down. It was just like it seemed like they were stressed, really going through the process, looking at these quarterbacks, a long, extenuous process of evaluating all these different scenarios and stuff. Like yes, they got up to 3, which is like they had a whole month to do that, which was unprecedented. But like still having having a deep dive on doing research and scenarios and stuff like that. It seems like they were just exasperated, specifically Kyle Shanahan. It just seemed like he was super defensive. It didn't necessarily seem like bad or like super low energy though. This presser by John Lynch, I just I'm big on energy, man. I just felt like he just seemed so down. You know what I'm saying? Like it's the pre-draft presser. Clearly, the Deebo situation, it's not his fault. This Deebo situation basically put him down. Clearly, it's not like he's just coming, like being down out of nowhere. I just expected and wanted, let me say that, I wanted John Lynch to just be a little bit more unflappable.
Cheerful.
Yeah,
Okay,
unflappable.
okay. Look,
Like a
but
little bit
look,
more like
there's all right.
steadfast, a little bit
I
more
feel you.
like
I
yeah. I
feel
mean,
you.
yeah,
But
Deebo
look,
situation, we're going through it. Like I'm not going to talk about that. I understand you guys have questions, but look, we're excited about this draft. It's a lot of things coming. We have to keep this thing going. There's a lot of things at play right now, and that's what we're doing. Like I just feel like it was a lot. Like
man,
yeah, like
I
I
hear what you're saying
understand.
though.
But
I hear what you're saying, but like there was a part like I feel you on it, just the energy and like he's not being super upbeat. But like there was a part when I guess I you can't really hear the questions from the reporters, but I guess he was asking like like things like this. Does it make being like a like things like this is it hard or something like that? And he was just saying like I can't remember the full quote, but it was basically like I mean yeah like this is the part about the job that is kind of, that is trying. I think he said it was trying, but he's like, that's the part about the job that I like. I guess, he's like these, and I don't know, right there, that was kind of, like I said, I don't know the exact quote, but it was kind of like, he was like, this is a part of it. This is a part of it. This, these type of moments, unpredictable, kind of like, where this is a part of it. This is a part of why he is a GM, I guess. And
he's
he was making
calling.
it seem, so I don't know if how I think he was being truthful to, or at least he was giving himself words of affirmation. I don't know if he really like truly, like you said, it wasn't just like you said, just exuding whatever, what's the word,
Confidence.
like confidence or energy. It wasn't that,
Mhm.
but I don't know, bro.
Yeah. Anything else? Any takeaways? I didn't remember if I know last year, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but last year I don't think there was any player.
Oh yeah, and
Um,
I think the
I don't know if
players
that was a
did good
COVID
too.
thing. Yeah, I don't know if that was like a COVID thing where they just didn't do it last year, but we typically do that. But I just don't remember that being the case. But that was interesting to see a few of the guys there. Did you just real quick? Do you have any takeaways from like what Fred and what just seeing Mike McGlinchey? That was
No,
good.
I think Mike McGlinchey. He's the CEO. He's
Yeah,
been the CEO. This very
yeah.
CEO like
Hmm.
whatever that means. But Fred, I think did a good job. Like I said, I think there was a lot of. I mean, these athletes are PR trained, but I mean, we heard Justin Jefferson last year talking about Kirk Cousins. So, I just feel like they didn't pour gas on the fire. Fred Warner, like he was saying, like, because they kept on asking him, like, was this, basically trying to compare it. And he's like, it's everything is every person different. Is every, he's just saying the right things to where I don't think Deebo is like, man, hell no. Like after yesterday, like after hearing whatever clips, like, oh no, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
But shit, but yeah, man, I think it was, this whole thing is like I said, I do want, I want Deebo. I need Trey. Trey needs Deebo.
Yeah, that's
But
why that's the problem. It's like if it was like an independent situation and we had Jimmy and like we were like possibly gonna do a whole rebuild and get a quarterback like next year, this year, like then I would feel a lot more like, man, like just let's get some picks, like move on. But you just said it, man. It's like I'm just thinking about Trey, everything in the franchise. And again, I always bring this up. I even brought this up last week, but this is all let me I should have started off with this with like big takeaway, like just my feeling on the team as a whole, as an organization. Because honestly, like just like last year, this is a huge draft for us. This is a huge offseason. I'll say that because this whole Deebo decision, whether you choose to trade him or you choose not to trade him because of the situation he's put you in, that's a huge, clearly a huge move in the trajectory of this franchise. And it's a huge decision that, like, you remember the tweet Jed York sent with the Will Smith GIF? Do you see that? You didn't see that? It was like earlier in this whole like Deebo. It was maybe like 2 weeks ago. It was maybe like I want to say it was 2 weeks ago where man, I don't know how long ago it was. I have to see, but it's probably still on his Twitter. I'm sure he didn't delete it. But it was Jennifer Lee Chan. I think he retweeted a video from her, or maybe he was responding to a video for her. But it was talking about Deebo requesting a trade and like, are the Niners going to trade him? And it was that Will Smith image of him
slapping Chris Rock.
Yeah. Just I'm butchering it, but you get the gist. It was basically like, no, we're not going to trade Deebo type shit. And it's like, which is, I feel like if you do that type of stuff, then okay. But if you're just somebody who tweets every now and then, it's like, why just don't do that? Because it's like, just don't do that. Like, you never know what's going to happen.
Oh, Jed.
Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's like, just don't do that. Like, you're just not. So anyways, the point I'm making is like, overall, this is a huge moment for the organization. It comes down from the owner to the GM to the coach. Like, just not only like this draft Deebo decision, but like next year, how Trey looks, like the development of Trey. Is Trey that guy? Like, all these things are huge, right? And I feel like I always blame the Jimmy G decision and situation. And I always go back to that because it's like, I feel like my beat on the 49ers is that they are always trying to parlay something. It's like they're betting, and like, instead of like making one bet or doing one thing, like they're always trying to parlay some shit. That's my, like, how I feel about the organization.
It's crazy when you say that. And you say you don't like Mike Florio, but that's kind of like, I was listening to them today, and that's,
I hate Mike Florio. But go ahead.
Yeah, but he was. I mean, that's his. That's his
Mike Florio.
That's his stance.
Regardless
of
what
he thinks.
Regardless of even seeing what he said, Mike Florio is one of the people like Emmanuel Acho and Marcellus Wiley, them two, who just unequivocally run with the narrative like 100% that like Trey is not good. Like Trey Lance is just not good.
Not like he wasn't. They were talking about Trey. They was talking about the Niners today. Him and Chris Sims.
Okay.
He wasn't that. He wasn't. He was saying like the Niners. They're basically saying like, because it feels like Trey is gonna be the guy. That's what it feels like. So he's running with that. I think maybe the way that we treated, the way the Trey Lance and Jimmy G happened last year, I mean, I could see why he would think like, I don't think he never said Trey's not good. I think he was saying they don't trust him, or they like, oh, did we get the wrong pick or whatever?
Right. Like they're making it a situation, and I agree with that aspect. Like they're making it a situation for people to interpret it as if we don't believe in Trey, because I think it was Vish or Grant who was saying that like when Jim Harbaugh came in, he immediately instilled confidence in Alex Smith. I know it's different situations, but it was, you're the guy, you're our quarterback, everything. And, John Lynch is out there. Yeah, we traded 3 first round, we traded all these draft picks and everything like that. But, we believe in competition, and, everything's going to, he's not going to say anything like bad per se, but it's not instilling full confidence in Trey from the top down, really from top down, from,
you didn't think it was yesterday?
No, I don't think fully, because it's like,
he didn't say it's not like starting quarterback.
Yeah, it's like, and we're talking about egos and emotions, and like just like propping somebody up. I'm not like they all grown men professionals. Like, are you gonna let the pressure of somebody not being 100% unequivocally like, oh, that's our guy, like change how you play on the field? Like, no, it shouldn't have a big effect in the grand scheme of things. But at the end of the day, like, you want like that 100% confidence. We're on the same page. This is where we're going. Like, and I just feel like the point I'm making is like, with the whole Jimmy G decision, it's almost like you can never be fully truthful. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with like this Deebo situation in terms of like, are you going to trade him or are you not? Can you really be fully truthful about like what you want to do with the offense or the draft or this and that? Because you have like you're walking on eggshells with a lot of situations, and like you're trying to get the most out of it. It's not even like we've seen with the Jimmy situation. They're not willing to just cut bait and like take maybe a later round draft pick. all this stuff is alleged and stuff, but it seems like they've been holding firm to no, this is his value. I don't care if you guys are saying it's not his value. So we're gonna keep, we're gonna. This is how we're gonna
But
operate.
look, hey, look, the points that you're saying, literally, he literally says the Niners.
Well,
He
whatever.
says
I guess we on the same
stubborn.
page.
Yeah, you guys are
I
like
guess we on the
brothers.
same page, but I don't
He
rock with
said
Mike Florio, bro. I don't rock with him. I
he
don't.
says stubborn is as stubborn does. Talking about the Niners, and then he was saying like he thinks that the Niners, during the season that we have it together, but during the off season, he says that he thinks that the Niners try to like outsmart themselves,
Oh yeah,
and
it's that parlay mentality. It's like we're gonna do this and then this and this is gonna happen and this and we're gonna get two for this. We're gonna get draft picks for that, and then we're gonna use that to do this. Then we're gonna like it's like, oh, we can't pay him yet because we have to wait till we get the draft
exactly.
capital. Then we're gonna do this, and then once we do that, we'll restructure this. But it's fine. We can just move this to the future. For now, we have Parag who's gonna do that. Like it just seems like no, bro. Like what if things don't fall to that absolute plan? Where like that's what a parlay is, bro. When one thing goes off, not according to plan, the whole thing falls apart. And it's like I just feel like we're parlaying so much, and it starts with Jimmy G. It doesn't even start with this offseason and cutting him, taking that $7 million, hit on him having a surgery and doing that. It's not even starting with that, man. It's even starting back to last year. And like there's a lot of benefits that come when we had a chance to get to the Super Bowl. So
Yeah,
like,
bro, we got
yeah.
to the NFC shit, bro.
No, but I'm looking at it from a bird's eye.
Trey didn't.
Best of both worlds. He got a little bit of experience. He got a little bit of experience.
He didn't get his confidence taken away. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know based on the team dynamics. Like based on the field, I don't think he got his confidence taken away. But based on the field, the team dynamics and whatnot, I don't know.
I mean, all you have to, in terms of team dynamics, all you have to say is to him, like, bro, Patrick Mahomes sat behind Alex Smith for a year.
Okay. So. Yeah, but okay. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. You're right about that. And he was very raw coming out, and that's fine. I think that's a good point you made. But I just still feel like, this whole Jimmy situation, it's hard in retrospect. We made it to the NFC Championship game, had a very legit chance to get to the Super Bowl. We were this close, when you can argue that, it was our, Jaquaski Tard, et cetera. Like we fumbled the bag. Like, I mean,
bro, I be seeing some funny ass like gifts of like kids dropping footballs and talking about Tard is practicing. Like that's. It is what it is, though, bro.
It is what it is. Exactly. It is what it is. What do you want to say? That's effed up.
It's really funny. It's really hella funny.
It's really funny. Yeah, it is funny. So, and it's sad and depressing. But anyways, so, like we were really that close, but at the same time, like if you go into like a, looking at a multiverse and you go to a different alternate, universe and reality where we did just go all in with Trey Lance and start him and get Jimmy off the team. And like now coming into this offseason, like there's just so many variables and factors and what ifs. And I don't even want to necessarily go down that path. But the point I'm making is that it just seems like we've tried to parlay so many things together. And I don't know. I trust the team. I'm with the team. I like Kyle Shanahan, especially with how he responded last season and, got to the NFC Championship game and all the good that we did. Like, I'm going to rock with the team on this one. I'm not just like, they're idiots for doing this and they're idiots for doing that. But it's just my read on the team, my feeling, my energy with the team is like, you guys are killing me with this whole parlay stuff. Understand the concept of a sunk cost. Make decisions. Make hard decisions. Make them. Be definitive. Don't try to ride the fence and like do two things at once and just make decisions one way or the other. That's really what I would like to see, but we don't have an organization that seems like they've learned from anything, and that's they are going to operate how they operate. It still might work out. That's fine, but that's my sentiments on it. Like I'm not a fan of it.
Hey man, and with this whole thing, like about to probably wrap soon, but with this whole thing, it's really just crazy because we're talking about this whole situation, Deebo, the Niners, and nobody really knows what is the issue. Like you said, like he's acting like Jalen Ramsey in Jacksonville. Like, okay, that was everybody you heard about narratives about the coach and Kyle Flynn and just the Jacksonville Jaguars. I mean,
you're hearing stuff now too. It's just not necessarily coming from him, and we don't know what's what. We're hearing the things we're hearing is like California, which is like, I mean,
but then he's training in LA. Then he literally shoots down to California. thing in his on his Instagram
Yeah.
story.
Okay.
Like, you
So
know,
so that but that's one of the things that we were hearing though.
like no, that
But he
was
shot it down. But he shot it down. Then you hear about like the I mean clearly the money, like clearly the money,
right,
like clearly like
right,
it's the money. Like that has to be
right. But
a
like,
huge.
what
But there
was it like?
some dinner situation that apparently allegedly, like that's what we're reading into it. Like some
What
dinner situation happened, and he felt so offended and disrespected that he took everything down, and from there it's been like trading.
what dinner
He had a dinner with John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan.
did
The
he?
He had a dinner with John Lynch. This is all. I mean, I don't know where this is. I can look at articles and stuff, but what's alleged
I
is that
never heard about that one.
what's alleged is that he had a dinner with Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch. After that dinner, that's when he took down, made his Instagram black, whatever, like 3 weeks ago, whatever that was. Like that's the day that he did that. After the
See,
dinner.
that's so like see that's where it's hard for me to believe that I mean that what's his name? John Lynch or Kyle Shanahan is the one to really make him mad. Like I just feel like
Well, I mean, you can bring
they
in
have the
Parag into
most
that. You can bring Parag into that. Like,
okay, no,
hey, like,
that's who I'm assuming is
I
like the
mean, yeah,
contract talks, the
yeah,
money
you
guy.
can, yeah, you bring Parag into that. But, I mean, ultimately, it's like I don't
I
know.
heard something about what's his name? Sims was talking today, said he's been hella trying to find out about like, you know, what happened, and he said that he hasn't they've been like kind of being like, "Bro, I can't like this is hella delicate and like he can't really get to it, but
Sim said that,
he's
like he like kind of basically alluding to like he knows more information, but he can't say anything about it.
no. He said that like people were telling him like I don't like they weren't giving him nothing and
Mm.
basically saying it's a delicate situation type vibe. But he's kind of what he has kind of heard through people who are connected or got connections with them is like, you know, he said the Cali thing last week. And then today he said that Nick Boza that apparently, you know, they were kind of he's you know that they were working on Nick Boza's deal first, and that Deebo was like, no, that it was kind of like one of those type of deals where it's like, hold on, like y'all need to be working on my deal, you know, and it's been that was kind of like a, you know, that maybe that was something, but at the end of the day, nobody knows really. Like, yeah, what is the real reason why you're this pissed off? Where it's like, no, I gotta go. Like, you know, what's the real reason? But it might be a lot of things, and then like, yeah, it might be a. What do you think about this? That it's just like basically all the things that we know, like the money, the fans hating when you know the being not being close to home.
The
Maybe
usage
the
of
Nick
him as a wide back, which is such BS because he has literally apparel that says wide back, and everything that we've heard from him in quotes and stuff like that is like he's 100% tapped in. But again, you can relate that to the money where it's like they're saying they're not going to pay you as much because of you're being used in this way. So he's like, okay, I don't want to be using that way. That's maybe what we can conclude from that, but it's hard. You're all just trying to put things together and put the piece of the puzzle together. So it's all like we don't know anything. And like this draft, the NFL draft, like I feel like the NFL mandates. I don't know. We've had a lot of trades this offseason, so I don't think they like mandate anything. But like there's usually with like draft stories and stuff, I think they're trying to make it as exciting as possible. So they want to hold off until like, there's something going on until the actual draft day. But yeah, I mean, day one of the draft, we'll know. We don't have any first round draft picks, but I guarantee you the whole entire faithful fan base is going to be tapped into the draft. Like that's a
Oh
fact.
yeah, for sure,
Like,
for sure, bro. So do you think? How you think this thing plays out? Like, I don't think you think we're gonna give him a new contract this offseason? And if we don't, do you think that
well,
Deebo? Hold on. Do you think that if we don't give him a new contract, do you think that Deebo will hold out the whole year and not get paid?
do I think he's going to hold out the whole year if he doesn't get a contract? I don't think he. I mean, this gets into that territory. The narrative is that because he was a second round draft pick, Nick Bosa, for example, we had the news that
Fifth year.
we got his 5th year, so like he's getting paid like 17 million this year or something like that, which is something crazy. Because he was a first round draft pick. So it's like you get paid like a lot more money. I mean, he was the second pick in the draft, not just first round, but he was the second pick in the draft. So like he gets paid like, a lot of money. And so he's already has money, his whole family got hella money. Like, obviously his brother and his whole family got money. Like he's kind of like in a different stratosphere when it comes to things. And he's going to be the highest paid player, non-quarterback, probably in the NFL. you got a guy like Deebo, who second round pick. My understanding with the new CBA is that if you don't, let's say you hold out, like if you hold out, you basically lose an accrued season, or like you're not going to get paid essentially if you hold out. Essentially, like you're not going to get paid if you hold out. That's like the new CBA. Like you will not get paid. You can hold in though. Well, okay, you can if you hold out, you're gonna lose your accrued season. That is like what the CBA now says. Also, we can franchise tag him at the end of his deal if we don't come to a certain agreement. Like, which is for somebody like Deebo. Deebo is, in my opinion, the exact type of player that you would franchise. I'm not saying you would want to because like I don't know if that's the best thing for morale. You want people to be like sold in and 100% with it and stuff, and have a good relationship on both ends and not like 1-year deals. But Deebo is the exact type of player you franchise because he's like arguably top 5, like because it's definitely an argument. His all-pro season, like I would definitely say he's like top 3. Jalen Ramsey clearly thinks he's top 3, but there's definitely an argument. It's not like he's just unequivocally the best receiver in the league. He's arguably top 5, right? So then you also have like the money, the top 5 money is fine, but then the year-to-year basis that mitigates your injury concern. So there's that threat that the team could put out there too. The NFL is different from the NBA. You can just franchise people, right? So like I don't like with Kirk Cousins, a quarterback, like you don't want to get into a franchise situation because you don't think he's the top 5 quarterback, and you don't, what I'm saying? Like that's just it's not apples to apples. But with Deebo, that is the type of player you'd want to franchise. So there's 2 ways that they're threatening essentially with like, okay, if you hold out, you're going to lose money. You're only making $4 million this year as is. Only making $4 million. I have $4 million right now. We get into the sports talk, man. We be you just say something like $4 million.
It's all it's all comparison, man.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, you got a different lifestyle. You got any of that $4 million, especially in California. You got the taxes, you got the agents, you got the management. It's a lot of things going on, and you got a lot of expenses. More money, more profits. Deebo, I've seen his chain. Yeah, I've seen his chain. And I've seen his chain. Exactly. He's in Miami trying to, have bottle service at the same spot that Tyreek is. And then, a lot of things come with that. So I get it. But having said that, man, like there's these aspects and these avenues that we're probably going to be like, give us leverage. That's the angle that people say. So you're asking me my opinion. My opinion is you don't want to do those things, right? You don't want to threaten him to hold in and like, because my whole thing is like, he could just come and just, I think we've had an argument about this on Twitter because like not an argument, but we had different opinions on this on Twitter because I posted, I think this past week, like, isn't part of the concern.
If he gets paid,
yeah,
he wouldn't be happy.
Yeah, like even if he like, let's say he signs like he wants 24, but he signs 19, but he's not happy with it. But he knows like he doesn't want to hold out, lose money. He doesn't want to like. So let's say like what's to stop him? And especially from this day and age when you got the Ben Simmons of the world and people like that. What if he just signs a deal and is like, I want to be
looked at? Does he want to be looked at as a Ben Simmons type person? Like, come on now, bro. Like you look at Ben Simmons you look at Ben Simmons like tissue paper. Like you're just the softest dude out in the world.
Deebo's raw. No, I get that. But my point is
like,
but like I get that. But I'm just saying he's already doing that. He's already doing that, saying that he wants to be traded, all that type of stuff. My whole thing is like, what if he just takes a deal that he doesn't even necessarily fully want? This is like the extreme condition, right? Where like he doesn't even play. The next condition is like he'll play, but like, okay, I'm playing for you. I'm going 100%. You're gonna get my 110%, but I'm not doing no backfield stuff this year. Or I'm not doing like, like if you did some shit like that or something, which is like, that's just weird because it's like,
yeah,
these are just my opinions. These are just my opinions. These are just my opinions and things that I'm like fearing with it.
But it's just like with the back, like, bro, he wants the ball in his hand. Like he don't want to get paid like a running back. I think like nobody, but I don't think it's like I'm not doing no back. I mean, maybe if people are getting in his ear and he's just from what it looks like,
business. But I'm saying it's business. Like I get you. I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying as a football player. I'm saying like business. Like he may be like having the instructions where it's like, do not do that. Do not do that. Because Parag's gonna come to you at the end of the year and say you took this percentage of snaps and like we did. Like, and if he's gonna play that game, don't even do it. This is just my fear from like.
But you're saying like, you're saying like if he signs like a 1-year deal and we try to renegotiate with him.
I'm saying if he
because I'm saying it's already done. If it's already done, if you already get paid whatever you're getting paid, then what?
No, I don't agree with that. Like you sign your deal and then you still do what you're doing. For some, like think about the mentality of somebody stripping down their social media. Like everything is fair game.
My point is this though. My point
is sign a 3-year, $19 million a year deal and then still pull games where it's like, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing this. That's my.
Right, but I'm saying like as as a person who's getting paid hella money, you're
So
not getting
you're not
paid
getting
like a
paid as
running
much as you
back.
want to.
As long as you're not getting paid like a running back, then that's what I feel like. Yeah, maybe beforehand, if before you get a deal, he's like, I'm not going to the backfield because y'all gonna pay me like a running back. Maybe I don't know, maybe that. But if
Yeah,
if you
but
already get your deal
there's
and you're getting
nuance
paid,
though. There's
you're
nuance
getting
though because we're
paid.
talking about how much though. The question is always how much. It's always how
Yeah,
much.
no, I feel it.
And my whole thing is like we're not offering him apparently allegedly. I don't even know if he's made an offer, but it seems like it's not what he want. This is all conjecture because we don't know. But I'm just saying my fear is if he wants 25. I'm trying to be specific with examples. If he wants 25, like as a starting point, like he really wants 25, but he thinks he's more. But he'll settle for 25, and the most we're willing to do is 19 when Christian Kirk is getting paid 18 or 17 or whatever it is. I could see a scenario that Deebo's like, yeah, I'll accept this deal because the alternative is what? Me holding out, me like, because you guys didn't trade me before the draft. So now it's like, there's no chance you're trading me. So I was like, I'll accept this 3-year, 19 million a year extension. But it's like, I'm not doing any of this other stuff. And I'm disgruntled. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I said, just different energy with me. I'm coming in, I'm working out, I'm hitting the weights, I'm doing what I do, but I'm gonna ball because I'm a baller. But I'm not doing all that other stuff I was doing, meeting with Shanahan on Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm not doing all that extra stuff. That's not me no
Okay,
more.
well, yeah. How he's
That's my
gonna
fear.
be with Shanahan is, how he feels personally about the people. Like if he like, I don't really rock with it, but
Yeah.
I just feel like at the end of the day,
You're not afraid
players
about that?
play.
I'm saying though,
Not
you're not afraid about that? Like you don't think that's even
about
like
him not liking. I mean,
you
him
think if
not
a deal
liking.
is signed, like everything is all good and we had
I'm not saying it's all good, but I'm saying like in terms of like how he feels about whoever. I just feel like this. If he's on the field playing for the Niners, and especially if he gets paid, it's like I just feel like he has a lot of pride. He's a lot of pride. He's gonna want the ball in his hands. That's how I look at it. Like he's all these type of players, the playmakers, whatever they want the ball in their hands. Like I know the backfield thing is a narrative people are saying, but like that's how you that's what's getting you attention. You're getting a lot of attention from that. Everybody's like praising you for that. Like
I hear
the
no,
media,
you don't
the
gotta convince
fans.
you don't gotta convince me. I understand your logic. I'm just saying
Like
it's
that's
business. I'm just saying there's a cut. I think there's the fear for me that there's gonna be a line in the sand where it's like I'm not doing that. Even when it's like fourth quarter
but
game
it's
on the
like but like
line,
all right, but like let's say we were talking about business, right? It's like
you're saying this is gonna help your
okay,
business. I understand.
no,
I
no, yeah,
understand. Yeah,
and it's like if you're already getting paid, you're
but
you're
not what you
getting
want.
paid.
But not what you
You're
want.
get the people who play the position that you don't want to play, that you don't want to get paid like, they get paid less than you. So you're getting paid. So it's like the people who play running back, they don't make as much money as you.
And they don't last as long as you either as your
Okay,
position group. Yes,
okay.
that's
If
my
we're talking
point.
about it being injured, so basically
No,
you're
no, no, it's
saying
both. It's both. They're not. You're saying like you're looking at it as like okay, you're making 19. The people that get running, top running backs are getting paid like 10, 11. You're getting paid like 10, 11. So you're already getting paid a lot more than them. My whole thing is like, why are they getting paid 10, 11? Because their position is devalued. You're a wide receiver where it's like you could be making 27, 28, 30, but you're getting pushed down to 19 because they're using you in this way. That's my whole thing.
right,
Like
but no, I feel
it's
it. But
it's a
my point
scale
is
of
like
like
this. My point is this is like once the deal is signed, like that's
no.
that's what you're that's what
This
you're
is
getting. You're that's
2022. This is
so you saying like
2022, bro.
you
This is
saying he's
2020.
thinking
We've
about the
already
next
seen there's
contract.
already been players who have signed deals who have like held out or whatever reason for wanting more. I don't know how much Xavier Howard was being paid in Miami, but he made a letter. He did all the stuff he was doing. He eventually, when Mike McDaniel came, eventually got a new contract. But he was doing and he played through it and stuff. But he had all this stuff that he was doing, like talking bad about the team and stuff. Like I don't know the full details of that situation, but I knew he was already on like a deal that he had signed, but still was complaining because he felt like he outperformed that deal. That was his whole thing. And this is
Mm-hmm.
2022. This is 2022. Like everything that we like, this is that's the only thing I have to say. I'm just looking at sports in general right now and how this thing looks across the landscape, different sports and everything. It's just different, bro. And it's business, and this is just how it goes. It's annoying as fuck. I get it, but it's like that's my fear with like Deebo right now. And we're not gonna know this. Only John Lynch, Kyle Shanahan, Parag, Jed York, Deebo, those and their agents, those are only people that really know the details of the situation and can project what's going to happen and what their real energy and reading is from the things that he's doing right now. But if there is a fear, like it's risk assessment. They have to assess like okay, if we do this and pay him, what precedent do we set? What are we doing? Like, how
Uh,
is this going to affect Nick Bosa? How is this going to affect, like, what do we have to do? Okay, if we don't do this, what are the ramifications? It's always risk mitigation and risk. There's always going to be a percentage of like, how comfortable do you feel? How comfortable do you not feel? And those are just my fears with Deebo right now. You
right.
just,
I
I,
feel you. I
I
feel you. But
just,
at the end of the
I don't
day,
know
right?
where he's at. I don't know
At
where
the
he's
end of the
at.
day,
Like,
at the end of the day, like you said, it is business. Um, and like the NBA players, like they kind of, they get paid a lot
paid
of
way
money,
more and have
and
less
and
risk of
and
injury.
no, and
Like,
then a lot of like like Ben Simmons, he don't even play this whole year, so he
yeah.
that, but all right with Deebo in terms of like it's like at the end of the day,
Mm. In the
you
beginning of
you are
nothing.
you at the end of the day, bro, as a player, it only benefits you to ball. That
Mm,
that benefits your business.
yeah.
If you don't ball, if you want to be disgruntled, like that's fine. But like if you don't want to ball, if you don't want the ball in your hands, if you don't want to make plays, score touchdowns, then that's just gonna negatively impact your business.
Yeah, I get that perspective, but there's agents and the things that they're pulling and stuff. It's like Debo's not really having that great of a year, but the agent, they're saying he's not really 100% in on the team, and like you can spin things a certain way too. I'm not like
You can,
agreeing
you
or
can, you can, but like
yeah,
at the end of the day, somebody gonna want a asset that we know, like okay, like so
yeah. But
then
if
it'll
you're
be
the
like okay, well
Jets,
he only had one good year. Then the
that's
first
the
year he
angle of
was
it. That's the angle of it too. But I'm saying like you've seen player like James Harden. This is bad, not apples to apples, but James Harden with the Houston Rockets when he was trying to leave. How was he looking like, and how was he playing? Like
he
shit.
was who
Hella
James Harden.
James Harden, hella overweight, hella like all this shit. You know what I'm saying? He was a different player when he was trying to leave. He was going to strip clubs like right before like he was doing the most trying to get traded. And Debo's the type I don't know how this is gonna roll out. I'm just projecting. I'm not even saying definitively either way. I'm saying this is the fear where
Right,
it's
right.
like if you're not happy, you're not 100% in.
No, no.
Like,
I mean, I feel you. At the end of the day, like
and I just feel like it's different with a
he's
guy
if
like
he's capable of doing all this and scrubbing the
yes,
social
yes. If it's
media.
different. He's a wide receiver. It's different if you're like a Fred Warner or if you're like a like I don't. It's just different. But he's a wide receiver, bro. Like he's at like you don't know what he's gonna do, bro. Like that's just my whole thing. Like I don't know what he's like where he's at. We just don't know, and that's like a scary thing because it's like, bro. Even if my whole thing is like, yeah, let's say we figure that we resolve the situation because the Niners are always trying to parlay and shit. We're gonna handle Nick Bosa. We're gonna wait for we get clarity on the Jimmy situation. We're either gonna cut him or we're gonna trade him, but we have to wait all the way to training camp for that. Okay, now this is off the books. Now Nick Bosa's done. So now we can get your contract. But we only have this much money for you, and it's not what you want, but this is what we can do right now for sure. And we can talk later in the future if we need to like make an adjustment to it or something. Okay, you signed in, but he's not all the way in because he's hella pissed about how this whole situation played out. Like I don't like I could see that being like the end game where it's just like nah, y'all had your chance. I told y'all I wanted to be traded. Like, and now you wanted to do it before the draft. I told you to do it before the draft. Now you're doing it now. Like, you're not paying me what I want. Like, okay, like I'll sign this contract because it's more than I'm making. But this isn't. I don't know. I could see that reality. I hear what you're saying about being a baller and it behooves him to do his best and put himself in the best position. I get all those things, but at the same time, I just feel like, can you really trust, bruh? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, on the field, you if you can't, on the field he plays a certain way, and you can't. What we can't trust is his
Or fighting
durability.
through injuries. Yeah, I was gonna say fighting through injury. Let's say he has something that he would fight through this past year. Is he gonna fight through it next year? For example, like if
Uh,
he's not happy with like
I
even
don't,
even
I don't
even
know.
let's say if he doesn't get a contract, more specifically, that's really like more like let's say he just like just is
Well, I
out.
just feel like if we
That's
don't
gonna
give
hurt
him a
his case for
contract,
getting yeah.
no, no, if we don't give a contract, I just feel like he gonna want a ball, and then that doesn't make any sense though, because I just feel like, I mean, wouldn't make any sense for us to not give him a contract. I mean, if we want him here, it's like, bro, we got to give him a contract, because if he balls out or whatever, and then he's a free agent, like it's over. He's
I'm
not
talking
he's
about
not
before
coming
that. Well, we can franchise him. It's not over. You can franchise him.
after
You like
after after next year.
you can always franchise them. You can like that's the thing with the NFL.
Oh,
Like I think you can franchise them like at least 3 times. Like you
okay.
can franchise them. You always there's it's never over. That's why they're saying we have so much leverage. But that's why I call BS on that leverage because you don't want somebody who's not happy. That's ultimately my point. If he's like not only somebody, you don't want an unhappy Deebo. I feel like that's not even like the MO.
I feel you, but then I feel you though. But we do have the leverage though.
No,
Like like
I understand, but I'm
bro, like
saying
if
if you
you
use
unhappy,
that
okay,
leverage to the point
unhappy,
where
then
it's like,
don't get paid.
okay, all right, for
Don't get
sure,
paid. You that unhappy.
okay,
You really not gonna get paid? Come to work.
yeah.
Come to work. I mean, I feel you. Like it is. It's
It's
not. But
scary,
this
bro.
is.
This is
It is.
you don't even
It
know what
is.
you
But
don't like. He the type. I'm saying he in the clubs. He turning down his IG. He's like I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. He's still working out. He's still a beast. He's still like I know he wants to be great. He wants to be a Hall of Famer. Like that's the mentality. It seems like he has. He's a hard worker. That's what he is. Like it's Deebo.
man,
Like
since
he's
we
a heart and
shitting
soul
on
of our
Deebo,
team.
yeah, he
He's a
should
heart and
lose a
soul of our
few.
team.
He should lose a few pounds so you don't get injury prone. He
Yeah.
needs to watch his diet, man. I'm out there nitpicking on Deebo. He needs to he needs to eat throw in
But I mean
some more
that
salads.
makes him so physical though, man. So it's like a catch 22 on that front. Do you see the whole George Kittle I am athlete feature and
I didn't see
Mohamed
the
Sanu?
whole thing, but it
I
was
watched the whole thing.
I didn't watch the whole thing, but they didn't ask him about Deebo, huh?
No, I don't know when this was filmed, but it's interesting because I tweeted I am athlete and they retweeted me. I was like, y'all need to sit down with Deebo. Y'all need to get Deebo on an
Right.
episode. And then the next day, like their
They said
next tweet was that like, oh, we have two 49ers coming on, like with they had the eye emoji too. And I was just like, bro, I was thinking it was about to like draft week before John Lynch's presser, like literally
right.
coming out before his presser. That's when it was gonna come, like because it came out at 9 a.m. and the presser was at 12 or whatever time it was. And so I was like, this is gonna be like Deebo is gonna like I was just fully expecting like the worst like
The
AB
Oprah,
like yeah
yeah.
like the TO A like I'm expecting like you know what I'm saying. And so it was just funny how that played out where it ended up being like I couldn't
Mohamed Sanu, bro.
Mohamed Sanu and George Kittle like that come on
Nah,
Brandon.
it was honestly hella boring. Honestly, like I
Yeah,
was
they were
kind of
talking about sports medicine and stuff. I mean, if you wanna, I feel like if you're a different if you were
yeah,
like if you're a fan of like a different team or something like that, I feel like it's a good peek into like like George. People love George Kittle. I feel like George Kittle is one of the most liked
yeah.
players in the NFL. So it's like he was saying like there were some dope things in there, like just talking about like visualization and Mohamed Sanu seems like an interesting guy from what we know as 49ers fans. Like we know he puts a lot of investment into like his body and his like what I'm saying, like so it's just interesting to hear like from their perspective and vantage point, and some of the things like George Kittle talking about like working out, like he's making some good points like about how we have the just lifting weights and what we do in the gym, like as men and stuff, like not even like
What was he
professional
saying?
athletes. Just like we go in there, bro. You remember we would go to 24-hour fitness, we would do all the deadlifting and stuff. I remember like we was like real heavy in the game like years ago. When we would go and like
We was in our
like
20s.
in our exactly, and like we would I remember there would be people that would come and they would do deadlifting, and it was like I just remember seeing somebody like damn they're doing hella weights, and over
Uh-huh.
time like we did it so much that like, we were doing the same amount and exceeding the amount of weight that they were doing because it's like muscle memory. You just get like a lot of that weightlifting shit is like it's not just like oh it's hella heavy. It's like you have to consistently like do it and build up that muscle memory to just do it. But it doesn't mean like you're like way less strong if you can't do it like on the first go of not doing it in a long time. So basically George Kittle was just saying like you can watch the interview, but he was basically saying like he's very intentional about the workouts that he does. Like everything has a specific purpose in it. Like he doesn't do like random like this deadlifts and stuff like that because it's like you're not going to be doing those sort of things on the football field. Like he does things that are going to replicate like okay, I'm actually going to need this for the football field, and like things that are going to increase his like flexibility and like just different things like that. He was just really breaking
Right.
down like, and it's like yeah, that makes hella sense. Like
Right.
it
I mean,
was just
especially I just feel like the older you get, I
yeah,
don't know. I mean, some people like lifting weights and stuff like.
yeah,
But I just feel like
for
the
sure.
older you get, it's like that's like it hurts your body
Yeah,
to be
he was.
lifting all the
They
weights.
were talking about every time you go into the weight, you're doing all those things. You're breaking down your body more. And as an athlete, as a professional athlete, you only have so many hits, so many like what I'm saying. Like you only have so much on you that you don't want to do things that are gonna like. He's like in the off season, yeah, I'll do a lot of cardio. I'll do a lot of like I need to like stay, and I'll do things that I'm making sure I'm strong, but I'm not trying to just like break my body down. You know what I'm saying? As
Right.
much because the season does that. Like,
Right.
so it was interesting, like talking about because they were in Italy at some like special sports complex thing. So, It was
that's where it was filmed at. I
yeah, it
thought
was
it was
they
in
were in
L.
Italy. No, they were in
Oh,
Italy.
I thought it
Yeah.
was in L.A.
No, they were in Italy. It seemed like Brandon had been with them for like a few days. Like they with this sports complex in Italy and stuff. Like they had went out to dinner the night before, and like they had like it was like a whole thing that they were out there for. So it was interesting to me. Like it was pretty like it wasn't. I hear you though. It wasn't like it was kind of on the boring side, especially on like other episodes that they've had and stuff like that. It wasn't anything like like super crazy that was said or anything like that. But it was interesting to hear, especially if you're a 49ers fan. You should listen to. But I mean, we know a lot of things about Kittle, like the visualizations, the relationship with his dad, and the letters. Like we know a lot of the stuff that like they
Right.
talked about. So
No, he had some dope. He had he had some dope ass ones on. He had them
yeah,
Chicago ones. Them things raw. But yeah, man, it was cool. It was cool. But yeah, they we thought Monday it was like, all right, Monday can't wait. You got the
and then
John Lynch pressure. You got
John Lynch
this
out.
I am athlete.
John Lynch
Yeah,
out there for opening up. Yeah,
out the
like
gate.
I just want to like shout out our whole scouting team from naming all these names and like he typically does, and like this draft is really
Uh,
deep. I mean it's like, bro, John, like come on,
yeah,
man.
he said
Nobody wants to hear it. Like come on. No,
nobody's tuned into
like
that.
like
Everybody's listening to what you're gonna say, but
and
he
I
just
feel like
shot it down.
and if you're gonna do the shoot down thing, just do that from the jump. That's what I felt. That's again like how I felt with the whole press conference. It was like, bro, you just seem so like exhausted, like by this, like and so caught off guard, and like, yeah, I mean, Deebo kind of decided to fuck up our offseason. So this is where we're at. And yes, yeah, Jimmy is still on the team, but we're fine with that. I mean, that's not like that's completely fine. We understand his values. I mean, we're not going to just give him up. You guys think we're just going to give him up? I mean, we can't find a trade, but like we're not going to just give him up.
He
Why would
said
we?
what he
Why would we
said.
do that?
He said we could foot the bill.
We can fit the bill. I mean, we just move things around. Okay, we got Prague back there. We can't just give him up. You don't just give up a player like that. Like a player like Jimmy, like bro, a player like Jimmy who's gonna lead your franchise to a Super Bowl, to an NFC Championship game when healthy, when he can play. Like you don't just give him up on the
Hey
last year of his
man,
contract when you drafted all this, all this capital to get Trey Lance. Like you don't just give up Jimmy. I'd rather anyways, I know I'm kind of hating, but his energy though was just it wasn't it for me. I'm still rocking with John. I'm rocking with the team, but I
you
just
know,
felt
like
like
it.
I feel like a
I'm
little bit of it was like, damn, like I had 15 million on the table with Amazon that I could have just 15 mil. I could have got paid 3 times as much, 4 times as much just
but
to
you knew that John. You knew he knows. I mean, he didn't anticipate Deebo, but you know
no, but I understand.
how
But
grueling it is. Like you
that's what
know.
I'm saying. It's the whole Deebo thing. It's not like of course, yeah, he decided to come back, but it's like this whole Deebo. He just seems exhausted by everything. Like just like
I know, but at some point it's like, bro, like it is exhausting, but it's like, okay, but you still, know what you're signing up for, and you know what that other job was about.
yeah,
You know, there's a big difference in terms of stress levels, but you
yeah.
know, I feel like
Um,
yeah, man, people you keep them busy, keep you on your toes. Sometimes when you like have the less intense thing, it's kind of like that's when your mind wanders. If you're in the heat of intensity, you got to be focused, or you know,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I was actually thinking the other day, I was like, man, like if John Lynch did take the Amazon thing and like, Adam Peters presumptively stepped in to, be the actual GM, it's just like interesting. You just wonder how, and it's actually now that I'm speaking out loud, like, Shanahan was at the presser last year. Like, what would be the harm of like, like, I feel like this would be a good thing for Adam Peters to be at too. You know what I'm saying? Like things like this, like, why don't we ever like hear from him?
Because we
You know what I
probably trying
mean?
to hold on to him. Look,
No, I get that. You don't want to advertise out.
the first year Mike McDaniel starts doing pressures, he's out.
No, I get it. I
The
get it.
first
I get
year,
it.
man.
But don't you also want like they know they have to know at this point that like Adam Peters is like this, like he's gonna get a job next year. He got his interviews, this year. If we have a good draft this year and whatnot, like he should get a job next year. I mean, that's what I think they would think. I mean, they want him to get another job because that means that his draft picks have been successful and that like they kind of know what's coming. So to me, it's like you might as well just like have the Niners. It looks better on your organization to kind of prep people. This isn't something that typically happens from my understanding with other teams and stuff. So I'm not, but it's just interesting to me because I'm like, why don't we ever like hear from him, especially at the actual draft? Like if there's any press conference and stuff for him to be at, it's this one. You know what I'm saying? Like, or
Right.
in the one after, of course, but after we have our draft picks, but which is more important. But yeah, I was just thinking about like, man, how would Adam Peters have been in a situation like this if like he was our GM and this was just the situation he was in? Like, I'm like, that's crazy to even think about. Like, that's
Yeah.
kind of wild. But yeah, man. On the draft, I know you haven't been looking at, or maybe you have been looking at okay, he said
Nada. I
nope,
haven't looked at
not at
anything.
all. So that's the interesting thing about it. John Lynch mentioned a few times, as we wrap up, he mentioned like that this is a very deep draft, but he basically alluded to like there's no point in trading up in this year's draft because it's just there's depth and like why would you trade up in this draft? Like that's pretty much, in my opinion, what he was alluding to. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting because like if you do get like 2 first-round picks, in a draft like this or something like that, it's like let's say you got the Jets number 10 or something like it. It's not even as valuable as it typically is, at the number 10 pick. But I would think that like a lot of people are like, oh, we got to draft, one of these wide receivers. And I feel like it's a situation where you would probably want to draft one of the defensive ends because they seem to be, or the offensive tackles if they're available. We'll see if they last past the 10th pick. But those seem to be some real, like there's some solid.
When the safety getting picked? Like number 2 or
Kyle Hamilton?
this the Notre Dame dude.
He's a slipper, right? He's a faller right now. He might go like late first round.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
He's not going to get drafted because he had a slow 40, pretty much.
What
like,
he run? What he run?
4.6 something. If the draft was right after the national championship game, Kyle Hamilton would be a top 5, top 10 pick probably. But it's not. And like we know how this goes, and people it just seems from you look at any mock draft right now, he's gonna go like in the teens or in the like he's gonna go. He might slip all the way down out of the first round. There's a lot of talk that the Georgia safety is better than him. Which is like I've seen the Georgia safety. The Georgia safety is just uber athletic, like super athletic, super fast, hits hard, like has range. Like he just all the Georgia players are like that pretty much on defense. They're all like crazy. And then you got George Pickens on offense, the wide receiver, who he's had injury history, but he's 6'3", can grab the ball. He has super good agility for being 6'3". Like it's crazy, bro. Because it's like with the draft and like with the combine and all the athletic measures and stuff. Like guys like George Pickens, wide receiver of Georgia, I feel like he utilizes his athleticism at like a 9 or a 10. Like he gets the most out of it. He high points the ball. He jumps up. He gets it. But guys like Christian Watson, who a lot of 49ers fans, it's their draft crush. Trey Lance's former teammate at North Dakota State. He's so fast and like he tested.
What he run like a 4.3?
Yeah, he ran a 4.3 for sure. He was like maybe the 7th fastest wide receiver, something like that, or maybe top 5. He was super fast, but not only that, he had a very good like long jump, broad jump. He had a very like
hella athletic.
Just very athletic. But he's like 24 years old. I think I want to say he's 24. Maybe he's not that old. Don't count me on that. But I think he's like pretty much he's an older prospect, and like his athleticism. It's like you don't always see him like just high pointing the ball and like keeping balance or like breaking somebody down and breaking a tackle like this. Like he's hella fast and he's like tall and stuff. But he doesn't like jump super high like in games, like and actually get balls and high point balls like other receivers who are good at it do. You know what I'm saying? So that's just where it kind of gets tricky with this whole draft thing because it's a crapshoot. So, but yeah, man. I don't know if there's anything else you wanted to hit on.
That's pretty much it. It is funny though. Like I heard Lynch talking about it's not a top heavy draft, and like I haven't been watching, and that's kind of what you kind of been hearing that I guess.
You never
but
know.
But it is. I just feel like it's kind of like justifying. Not being in the first round.
And I think it's justifying if we do get a trade that ends up being like a late first round pick. And like this is just what I was thinking. It's like, well, we had some better offers to, move up and get closer. But in this draft, we were really comfortable sitting back and getting more picks in this range. And I just always think of the worst of these guys when it comes to stuff like that. And I feel like that's what they're angling to present it as. Maybe they actually believe that. It doesn't mean that they don't actually believe that. But I just feel like that's what's going to be said. Whether they believe it or not.
They could believe it, man. But shit, these Warriors, we got to get this win tomorrow.
Oh, yeah, you got that hat on, man. Definitely like super more enthused about the team as KD's not on it. It's not a super team. Went to the lumps, got some young guns in it. It's back to that organic feeling, and it feels so good.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So, it's back to that, like, okay, like, Yeah, the KD Warriors. I
And
wasn't
and it's
really
not just the KD Warriors. I think it's the league in general because every team there's not like really a great team. Every team is kind of good though, and so there's just a lot of parity where it's like there's not really it's like you can beat any team.
right,
So
right,
I
right.
think that's a big
Exactly,
aspect of the playoffs
exactly.
in general right now, where it's like there's not like the super team that's like just so hard to beat.
Right, right.
So we'll see how the playoffs, turn out. I know there's a lot of Lakers fans out there tuned in, a lot of different fan bases and stuff like that, because the Niners are everywhere and always gets, difficult when you talk about different sports. But it's Warriors all day. We are 49ers fans from Oakland, just to clarify that. Um, yeah, man, definitely we'll see where we are next week. Next week there should be a lot more clarity. That is the word. Hopefully there's a lot more clarity because I think things could still go left and there still could be stories about, if we don't trade Deebo and he's still disgruntled and he doesn't have a contract, where do we go from there? I think one of the most interesting things as we sign out about this draft period and this whole Deebo situation, we didn't go. I mean, I mentioned it a few times, but we didn't really talk about Jimmy G. And it's like we always talk about Jimmy G as 49ers fans. It's like, what I'm saying? That this actually took a lot of energy away from Jimmy G, which I love. You know what I'm saying? Which I
And
love.
and Trey Lance.
And Trey Lance
I feel like Trey Lance is this offseason. I mean, of course he gets talked about, but I just feel like this offseason,
chilling.
I'm putting on the optimism hat. I feel like this offseason it's like he's not no the spotlight isn't
Headlines.
necessary. It is
Headlines.
not on you. It's
Yeah.
not on you right now. It's
Yep.
I mean it's gonna come, but
Yeah.
you could work, you could grind in
Drive up.
peace.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting too. People, making a big deal out of everything because you have to these days. But Trey Lance, Brandon Ayuk trained together in, I believe, L.A. I believe I forget exactly where in L.A., but somewhere out in L.A. And then Deebo, and then they leave. Trey Lance went to North Dakota State where his brother plays. And so I know there was a picture of him in North Dakota State this past weekend. As soon as he goes, Deebo comes training in LA, like not to say like they have to train together and like any of that type of stuff, but it's just interesting like how that worked out. And I'm not saying it's like make a bigger deal of it than you need to, but it's just interesting how all those things work out, man. So
Yes, sir.
and that's one thing I wonder about too. Like, is anybody tapped in with Deebo? You would think Trent Williams is definitely tapped in. Like, nah, man, F them, F Parag, get your money. I feel like Trent Williams would be saying all that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like he
Yeah.
really would. But I feel like I just in my head, I just envision Deebo really only being like close like that with Trent Williams on the team and like probably
Nah,
nobody else.
nah, for sure. I mean, yeah, I just feel like when you start with the whole doing like, blacking the social media out, talking to the reporter. I don't know. For some reason, I just feel like those are Debo decisions. Those are Debo. Like, not this. Obviously, you're not saying Trent Williams isn't telling him to do it, but like, I just feel like those are Debo and his little entourage. I don't know if he has an entourage around him, but if he does, those are Debo slash entourage decisions to like, man, I'm gonna tell this reporter,
Yeah,
and
and I would
you know
love
what
to.
I'm saying?
Yeah, and I would love to see what the agencies think about everything that like wiping off social media and stuff like that. Like, is this something that they're on lockstep with the players about? Like, or is this something that like Deebo and his maybe man? Because these guys have like a lot of management teams. It's not just like their quote unquote agent. They have like different people managing different things and marketing people and stuff like that.
Right.
So I'm just curious if it's a situation where it's like I don't know, like they're on lockstep with understanding that this is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give them that type of credit in terms of like just really scheming out hella. I just feel like my opinion is I just feel like it's kind of like how he's feeling, and then he
Mm-hmm.
just does it, and then it's like just how kind of he's feeling or what he wants to do.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? I don't know if he's sitting down with his marketing team like, all right, guys, so I'm about to holler at Jeff Darlington tomorrow. Blacked
Mm-hmm.
out the social media. We're gonna have brother say this today. You
Right.
know,
It's crazy.
but shit, he might be really setting it all up like a real businessman.
You never know. Well, that's going to be it for this episode. Appreciate y'all tapping in. Make sure y'all tapping with us at 49x365 on Twitter, all that good stuff. My name is BM Mechie. We'll see what happens in this draft, man. But I'm definitely going to have positive energy and good vibes. As always, I'm with JB.
We out. Hey, Faithful, stand up, baby.
Hopefully we have clarity. Clarity is the word. Clarity. Are we gonna have it by next week? We'll see.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's an honor to be on the Tonight Show.
This is the 493 Spot Podcast.
And Faithful, stand up, baby.